Still wrangling those tenants in that old triplex in East Austin, Maya? My cousin Derek asked, barely hiding his smirk as he sipped a craft IPA at our monthly family cookout. Bet you love unclogging toilets. I smiled politely, nodding, even as I thought about the $150 million deal. I just finalized that morning a luxury, high-rise development near Zilker Park. That triplex in East Austin was where everything began. 10 years ago, I scraped together every dollar from my UX design job, plus a small loan from my Aunt Carla, to buy it. It needed work, but it was mine. To the rest of the family, it looked like I'd taken a wrong turn. Top of my class from UT, a promising career in tech, and I picked real estate? Someone's got to keep the lights on, I joked, hiding the irony. Derek had no clue that the co-working space he rented for his startup, the one with the chic rooftop bar and downtown skyline views, belonged to me. Every month, a portion of his rent landed quietly in one of my holding company's accounts. You ever think about doing something more? And Jackie chimed in. My neighbor's son just landed a gig at Google in California. You're still dealing with leases, right? I smiled. Just last week, Google's regional real estate director emailed me to set up a meeting. They were looking for expansion space. Little did they know, they'd soon be leasing from the woman they brushed off at a real estate mixer in 2014. I'm doing okay, I replied, as I always did when they assumed I needed saving from my small life. My dad gave me the same half sigh he always did. You had potential, Maya. You could have been in New York or the Bay, managing big portfolios, not chasing down rent. If only he knew. That triplex had grown into a $780 million real estate empire. Office towers, smart tech campuses, eco-certified condos, all owned, developed, and managed under my company, Solara Equity. But in this backyard, I was still just a landlord. How's that new space treating you? I asked Derek. Views are unreal, he said, grinning. Rent's insane though. Some company called Solara owns it, probably a bunch of suits in New York. I just nodded. Solara was headquartered 3 blocks away, in a building I owned. The name came from my Aunt Carla, the one person who backed me from day one. That first $12,000 loan of hers turned into a 400-unit residential portfolio. You see that new tower they're building off Congress? Jackie asked. Supposed to change everything. Oh yeah, I said, swirling the ice in my lemonade. We break ground next month. I'd spend that morning reviewing final site plans with the architecture firm. The $200 million project was my most ambitious to date. Rooftop gardens, retail galleries, electric transit hubs. But to my family, I was still answering maintenance calls at the triplex. My phone buzzed, a message from Jordan, my construction lead. City gave final approval. Excavation starts Monday. Probably another broken pipe, Derek chuckled, glancing at my phone. Oh, the glamorous life, I said, stepping away into the garden. The rosemary bush I planted when I bought the house had bloomed again. From the porch, I could still hear my mom's sigh. Maya could have been something if she'd taken that product manager job at Amazon. At least she's not out there chasing risky dreams, Dad added. Her cousin Jamie just made partner at his law firm. I smirked. That firm had just lost their bid to handle Solara's legal work on our next big development. They never knew the client they failed to impress was the cousin they always whispered about. Inside, the conversation turned to Austin's real estate market, the family's favorite topic. The old Crescent Hotel sold for $60 million, Derek said. Cash buyer, 0 contingencies. I nodded, keeping quiet. That contract had my signature on it. I closed the deal yesterday. The Crescent was set to be the anchor for Solara's new boutique hotel brand. Linda sighed. Must be nice. That kind of money. Meanwhile, Maya's still dealing with vending machines and dryer repairs. They didn't know about the offshore trusts, the umbrella LLCs, the team of lawyers and advisors quietly managing hundreds of millions in assets, all from the top floor of a building they thought belonged to someone else. After dinner, I headed home to my penthouse in South Lamar, floor to ceiling. Windows framed a city skyline, dotted with properties I either owned or controlled. On my desk, acquisition proposals, lease offers, expansion requests, one from a VC firm, another from a celebrity chef, and a third from a robotics startup looking to lease 20,000 square feet in my East Side Tech Hub. A text from my acquisitions director. Riverside property available. Seller wants $120 million. Worth it? Make the offer, I replied. I walked to the glass and looked out across Austin, a city I now owned. Piece by piece. Lot by lot. 10 years ago, I bought a beat-up triplex with everything I had. My family was mortified. A gifted grad from UT's business school, turning down offers from McKinsey and Google to be a landlord. They told me I was playing small, but I saw what they didn't. That street was about to explode. I flipped one property, bought another, then another. I layered my empire in LLCs, trusts, and shell cores. To the world, Solara Equity was just another firm. To my family, I was still the one unclogging sinks. But I knew better. I was building something real. And one day, they'd see it too. The next morning, I arrived early at my real office top floor of a sleek tower in downtown Austin. Not the modest storefront on East 6th I kept for appearances. A fresh copy of the Wall Street Journal sat neatly on my desk. The headline gave me pause. The quiet power behind Austin's skyline. Solara Equity expands aggressively. The article speculated about the elusive founder behind the company reshaping the city. Industry sources believe it's a young UT graduate who built her empire block by block. Her identity remains tightly guarded. I smiled, remembering Derek's crack about leaky faucets and Jackie's comment about laundry room quarters. If only they knew. The intercom buzzed. My real assistant this time. Not the friendly building manager I kept at the East Austin triplex to play the role. Maya, the investment committee is ready in conference A also. The architects for the Congress Tower are waiting in the war room. I stood, smoothing my blazer, checking the guest list one last time. To make sure no family names had slipped in by accident. But fate had other plans. Maya. My assistant's voice came back, hesitating now. There's a Derek. Ray's here from Travis Maxwell, LLP, says he's here for a lease negotiation. My stomach dropped. Derek? My cousin Derek? It was supposed to be his firm's managing partner. Not him. Not today. Should I send him in? I had seconds to choose. I could disappear into my private office and let legal handle it. But deep down, I knew this moment was inevitable. Send him in, I said. The door opened. Derek strolled in, eyes fixed on his tablet, flipping through documents. I'm here to meet with Miss Reyes of Solara Equity. Our partner had a scheduling issue, so He looked up. Silence. Maya. He blinked. What the hell are you doing here? I gestured calmly to the nameplate on the desk. I am Solara Equity. He sank into the chair across from me, color draining from his face. That's not possible. Solara owns about 60% of Austin's prime commercial blocks, I finished. And with the Congress Tower breaking ground next month, that number will grow. His eyes widened. The Crescent Hotel redevelopment? The Zilker Park mixed-use complex? That was all you? I nodded once. Would you like to see the portfolio? For the next hour, I walked him through the numbers, the properties, the expansions, nearly a decade of empire building, done quietly while they thought I was managing one triplex. Does anyone else know? He asked. No, I said, closing the folder. Just you, for now. I leaned back in my chair, though I suppose that's about to change. He stared at me for a long time. Why didn't you tell us? Letting us think you were stuck. Letting you think what? I replied softly, that I was a failure. I walked over to the massive window. Congress Avenue gleamed below, anchored by buildings with my name buried in the deeds. You never asked if there was more, I added, voice even. You never wanted there to be. Derek nodded slowly. We were wrong. Yes, I said, turning back to him. You were. My phone buzzed. A message from Jamie. Family dinner tonight. Don't be late this time. I tilted the screen toward Derek. Shall we tell them together? The drive to our parents' house felt different. Derek's car led the way, quieter than I'd ever seen him. I followed him up the familiar stone path, knowing the truth was finally walking in with me. You're late. And Jackie called from the kitchen. Everything was about to change. Jamie was just telling us about her new promotion, Jackie said, setting down a tray of sweet tea. She paused, noticing the tension. Is everything okay? Uncle Tom asked, eyes flicking between us. Derek cleared his throat. His voice was steadier than mine had ever been in that house. You might want to sit down. There's something you need to know about Maya. And for the next hour, I told them everything. The buildings, the developments, the deals they admired in the news, the empire I had quietly constructed while they served me. Second helpings and subtle pity. I showed them articles, renderings, financial reports, tax records, a business named after and Carla, the only one who ever believed in me. They sat stunned, the air around us thick with revelation and regret. No one interrupted, not even Aunt Jackie, not even when I showed her the blueprints for the boutique hotel she'd gushed about last summer, the one she said must belong to some brilliant out-of-towner. I wasn't the family's failure anymore. I was their surprise ending. 780 million, Amanda whispered, staring at the screen like it had just punched her in the gut. You're worth that much? That was last quarter's valuation, I replied, sipping my hibiscus tea. Once the Congress Tower project finalizes, we should break the billion mark. Mom looked utterly bewildered. But you drive a Toyota. It's a good car, I shrugged. Reliable. Just like that triplex you all used to laugh about. Dad hadn't said a word. He sat in his recliner, the one he refused to replace, his eyes glassy. All those family dinners, he said finally, like he was talking to a ghost. All those times we tried to help you get back on track. And you just let us. I let you show me who you really were, I said quietly. Every smirk, every helpful suggestion, every time you called me a landlord like it was something dirty. Amanda's voice came sharp. That's not fair, Maya. It was cruel what you did, letting us embarrass ourselves like that. Cruel? I turned to her, like when you told me I should take that entry-level job at your friend's marketing agency, like when you all cracked jokes about Maya's little property on the east side every Thanksgiving. The room went still. The truth is, I continued, more softly now. At first, I kept it secret because I needed to prove to myself that I could do this without anyone's validation. But eventually I saw how you treated me when you thought I was struggling. So this was revenge? Peter asked. No, I said, holding his gaze. This was a mirror. I just let you see yourselves. Mom wiped her eyes. Dad looked like he had aged a decade in a minute. Amanda stared at her phone, probably realizing how many times she'd casually trashed one of the biggest developers in Austin without knowing. The Congress Tower deal, she said after a long silence. My firm was hoping to handle the zoning council. It's already assigned, I said evenly, to a firm that never mocked their client over Sunday brisket. Peter shifted uncomfortably. About the office lease renewal. Your terms will remain fair, I said. Solara Equity doesn't mix family and business. Apparently, I'm the only one who still believes in keeping those lines clean. The following weeks were tense. My family moved like sleepwalkers, still trying to reconcile the version of me they thought they knew with the woman in the business journals. They swung between emotions, pride, guilt, awkward apologies, and even the occasional flash of resentment. Meanwhile, the Austin Chronicle ran a 2-page feature, The Quiet Queen of Real Estate, Solara Equity's Rise from East Side to Skyline. Other headlines followed. Mystery mogul revealed, meet the woman behind Austin's booming skyline. From triplex to Titan, Solara's billion-dollar trail. Photos of me at industry mixers, once ignored, were now headline captioned like a puzzle piece everyone missed. My phone exploded. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. Former classmates. Even Aunt Jackie sent me a long message. Half apology, half invitation to brunch. But for now, I was fine keeping my circle tight. The Solara team, and the vision that got me here. Because while the city finally saw what I'd built, my family was still catching up, and I was already onto the next blueprint. An investment lunch, a podcast invite, a cousin suddenly interested in just catching up. I ignored them all. I focused on what I do best. Building. The Congress Tower project broke ground right on schedule. The Crescent Hotel renovation passed its midpoint. I closed 3 more major land deals across East Austin. My company Solara Equity was thriving, not because of the attention, but in spite of it. 6 months later, I hosted my first family dinner at my South Lamar penthouse, the one they never knew existed. They walked in slowly, taking in the floor-to-ceiling skyline views of Austin, the curated southwestern art, the calm hum of a space designed with intention. For the first time, they saw me not through the filter of who they assumed I was, but for who I had become. I have an announcement, I said as we sat around the long table, sunlight washing the concrete floors in gold. Solara Equity is going public next month. A pause. We're expecting an IPO valuation of around $2 billion. Silence. You could have told us, Mom said gently. We're your family. Are you? I asked. For 8 years, you showed me exactly what kind of family you chose to be. No one responded. You didn't want me to succeed, you wanted me to succeed your way, on your terms. You never asked what I wanted, or what I saw. Amanda looked down, jaw tight. And now, she asked, what happens now? I turned to the window. My city, my canvas unfolded beneath us. Now, I said, we start over. Honestly. No more assumptions. No more judgments. No more boxes. Peter cleared his throat. And the company? It will grow, I said, but not through family favors or shortcuts. Success should be earned, not inherited. They nodded slowly, this time finally listening, finally seeing. Today, Solara Equity is valued at over $3 billion. We own properties from Austin to Atlanta, Santa Fe to San Diego. We revitalize neighborhoods, reshape skylines, and build legacies designed to last. And my family? We're building something too. Something harder than hotels or towers. Real relationships built not on assumptions or roles we were forced into, but on truth, respect, and the choice to grow together. Peter's firm still leases space from us now. He deals directly with my asset team. No shortcuts. No handshakes under the table. Amanda's firm sometimes wins bids on our legal contracts. Not because she's my sister, because she earned it. Mom and Dad? They're learning to be proud not of the life they imagined for me, but of the one I built on my own terms. And me? I still drive my reliable Toyota. I still stop by that triplex in East Austin, the one they used to call your little side project. I remember every zoning hearing, every sleepless night, every quiet decision made when no one was watching. Because the most powerful things we build aren't made of steel or stone. They're made of courage, clarity, and the decision to choose yourself even when no one else does.